Good morning. Good Wednesday morning, and I'm back in my office. Now I've been out in the living room for the last few months because it's just been too cold and dark and miserable, and my office is such a mess. I'm sorry. I'm Constance comes in and she just can't believe I can live in this squalor. But I am unorganized. I have been uh, all my life. At least, I know where everything is. See, I know just in which strata I can find things. But when I sort of leave it there for 3 or 4 years, well, Anyway, I have an interview. As you know, I've got a new book that's out called The Tarot Architect. And I'm happy to say, I'm ecstatic to say that there's been a lot of interest uh, in it, and it getting a lot of good response and quite a few inquiries for interviews and things like that. And I've got another one coming up here in literally just a few minutes. Uh, so I'm going to be rather short today, but and it is sort of tarot related, and uh, very often. Well, for quite a few years, I traveled a lot. I overseas a lot, and those are long flights as a rule, and you get kind of bored with the funny little television things. And quite a while ago, okay, this is maybe 15, 20 years ago, when flying was more glamorous, I guess you'd say, and the service on the airline was uh, more attentive, and you had little extra things, stuff, and I'd get bored, and I would ask, if the airline provided playing cards, you know. And when I first was flying, I flew American Airlines. If you're old enough to remember American Airlines, and TWA. But anyway, yes, they had, there was American Airlines playing cards with the logo on the back and everything else. And they'd just come out and give you one. And I'd always ask for the wings too. I says, can I, at first I'd say, can I take a pair of wings home to my son? Later on, my grandson. Uh, and they'd always give me little plastic wings. But I digress. I usually traveled alone, so there's no one to play cards with. But I'd get out my little tray and try to squeeze in games of solitaire. Now, when I was my father, who taught me the rules as a young man, he taught me the rules of solitaire. And most people, for amusement and for pastime, will do 3 cards at a time. They'll do 3 cards, and it lasts longer, and it's kind of interesting. But my father said, "Hey, in Las Vegas, you buy the deck for $52, and you just lay 1 card at a time, and you just go through once." And of course, in Vegas, you let the dealer do that. Okay. So you can understand that for every card that you lay up at the top, you get $5. So you buy the whole deck for 52, and then five for every ace that goes up, and five more for the twos, and five more. It takes you a while to break even, and most of the time you don't. But that's but it does make it interesting. And as a kid, I thought, hey, well, I'm going to do it Vegas style. You know, I uh, I got a kick out of that. I watched Damon Runyon Theater, the sort of the gangster comedy thing that Guys and Dolls was based on, and I liked that. And watched Mickey Spillane. I was a strange boy. And for a while, I told people when I grew up, I wanted to be a bookie. I hate math and everything. But yeah, I want to be a bookie when I grow up. But anyway, I digress. Uh, I uh, I was used to playing solitaire like that. I just wanted to know pretty quickly, you know, am I going to break even on this game of solitaire if I was playing it in Vegas? But most people, for amusement and when there's no money involved, use that. They thumb through three at a time. Now, when you uh, do it with a deck of cards, of course, you've got to have all 52 cards. And if you happen to be missing one, there's a Statler Brothers song called Flowers on the Wall. Said, play in solitaire till dawn with a deck of 51. Smoking cigarettes and watching Captain Kangaroo. No, don't. Okay. I really am digressing this morning. But on the plane, I started to say, no, I'm going to make an oracle out of this. Because the 52 cards, playing cards in the deck, are 52 of the 56 tarot cards of the Lesser Arcana. And I sort of have floating around in my mind the general definitions, the interpretations of each of those cards. So I don't really need a book or anything else. And I would go through it 3 times until I couldn't go through anymore. And then I would read the cards that I could pull up as my oracle. And let me see here. I'll illustrate it for you. There are 4 fields. Okay, there's 4 fields that you can put the cards up onto. Okay, 4 fields like that. And, the rest of your cards, were started off in a pattern like this. And as you go along, you put them up. Now, those 4 fields are easily seen as a field of Yod, Hey, Vav, Hey. Now, that's also wands, cups, swords, and discs, and that's also clubs, hearts, spades, and diamonds. Okay. Now, when you do it on the computer, the computer automatically puts the first card that you can put up there in the Yod position. And the second card you can put up there, the second ace, in the Hey position, in the Vav position, and the second hay position. But the cards could be any of the suits. So that gives a little extra dimension uh, to the process. This is, and I mention it in the Book of Ordinary Oracles. Now, today, when it just crossed my mind as I was walking home with this, um, hey, I enjoyed doing solitaire uh, on the computer. Okay, when I learned at work that I could do that, that's pretty much all I did at work. Okay, uh, but it's relaxing and it keeps your mind going, kind of. And I thought, what about what about talking about solitaire? Because my mind is totally absorbed, saturated with tarot talk. What with the new book out and the 3 years of writing the book and then exercises at class and stuff. And this is just such kind of a pure divinatory possibilities to the solitaire thing. And way back when I wrote the Book of Ordinary Oracles, I actually have one called the Solitaire Oracle. And it's only a page here. I'm going to read it. Uh, do you know how to play solitaire? If you don't, I'll bet you know someone who can teach you in about 2 minutes. Today, most of us are introduced to the game through our home or business computers, many of which have the world's most popular version already installed. Not everyone knows that solitaire is also a bona fide game of chance played in casinos. Fewer still know that it can be a powerful oracle. The most fascinating aspect of using solitaire as an oracle is that the outcome, the answer, is not just a foregone conclusion determined by cold destiny or the moment the cards are shuffled and cut. By playing solitaire, you inject yourself, your decisions, your concentration, your skill, and yes, your oversights and mistakes into the process of selecting the cards for your reading. The way you play the game is the most vital component and catalyst determining the final outcome. Kind of scary, huh? Now, when I came home from my walk, I picked up. I turned to this page to see the Solitaire Oracle, and I'm thinking, gee, should I do this for today's? And then I look at the thumbnail oracle on the page, and I said, yeah, that's what I'm going to do this morning. Okay. Winning, in the old sense of the term, is not the object here. Ultimately, the answer can be 1, 2, 3, or a 4-card reading that you interpret from left to right. Now, I say left to right. If you want to do the Yod He Vav He, choose right to left and stick to it. Naturally, winning the game obviously indicates the best of fortunes, and the details of your triumphant answer are revealed not so much by the traditional meanings of the 4 kings, that's what would land on top, the 4 kings, as by your interpretation of the order of the suits. And if you're doing it with real live cards, you lay them out from right to left, and that could be any order. If you do it on the computer, it automatically puts it from right to left. Okay. Or excuse me, from left to right. But every game is a win because the Solitaire Oracle never fails to give an answer. Even if the answer is, I have nothing to say at this time, try again later. Simply ask your question, play a game of solitaire, letting the cards fall where they may. When you can go no farther in the game, Take note of the last cards you are able to place on top of the play stacks, then discover their meaning. And I've got discover their meanings below. And what I've done in the next like 3 or 4 pages is I've just taken the clubs and because those are the wands, and reviewed this sort of classic, very generic meanings to the tarot cards. Instead of the King of Clubs, my deck would be the Knight of Wands, the Queen of Wands. Okay. The same thing with the hearts. Okay, those would be the cups. Okay. Now, obviously, there's a couple cards. There's one card per suit that's missing, and that would be the princess or the page. Okay. If you happen to have a deck of cards, real live playing card, a deck of cards, often there are two promotional cards in the deck. If you're lucky, there's four promotional cards. You can make them do double duty as princesses, I guess. But that's not, you're not playing with a full tarot deck when you're playing with playing cards. Anyway, I thought that might be an interesting thing for those of you who do tarot, to just experiment with asking a question, playing the game of solitaire, however you play it, and get your divinatory answer in the cards that remain when the game is over. I ask before I turned on the camera. I played a game of solitaire on the computer. I used the green felt 3-card game, and here's what I came up with. Okay. There was nothing that appeared over here. Okay, but I got the 3 of discs, or the 3 of diamonds, the Ace of Wands. That's as far as I got there, and the 4 of hearts, or the 4 of cups. That's works. Ace of Wands, and Crowley calls the 4 of cups luxury. Now, just using the Milo's generic divinatory meanings, the 3 of discs, actually it's in the disc position there, the 4th one to the left. 3 of discs, material works, work, constructive energy, crystallization of forces, job, concentrated effort toward effort rewarded now or in the future. Now, my divinatory question was generically, hey, is this a good example for me to show to you this morning? So that's pretty good. It would indicate to me that at least a few of you are probably going to crystallize this into actual material action and give it a try. Okay. The second card was the Ace of Wands. Now that Ace of Wands would be the Ace of Clubs, and the Ace of Clubs is seed of action, the beginning of an undertaking. The Ace of Clubs symbolizes force, strength, energy. It implies natural rather than invoked force. Okay. Still, that was a pretty positive kind of thing, and I felt good about, oh, somebody's going to pick this up and just it'll be a natural a natural thing for them. And then the fourth one in the uh, hay position is the Four of Cups, which is cups is the hay suit or the water. And the Four of Cups is, Crowley calls it luxury. And here would be the Four of Hearts, blended pleasure, luxury. A lot of you will figure out, don't I have something better to do with my time? This is the sweetness that, like too many bonbons, make a guy sick. Okay. Blended pleasure, unsatisfying bounty, a stationary period of happiness that may or may not continue. Success or pleasure approaching their end. Okay, don't get carried away with this. But I thought uh, you might enjoy the concept anyway. And it's kind of good practice. If you can see your tarot card and the significance of the card and the characteristics that are embodied in a tarot card, if you can start to see it even in a plain card, you can start to see it in everything else that's around you too. And so it's, if nothing else, I think it's pretty good gymnastics. Anyway, that's it. I'm going to have to get myself rearranged for an interview. So uh, get out your computer and just do it once, okay? Just see what it says. It might give you the message, do it. Anyway, until tomorrow, continue to be good to yourself and be good to each other. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Love is the law. Love under will.